but this might be helpful to any of you if you have acoustic instruments. I'm going to post it on the YouTube and see what people say. But yeah, a little bit of crazy here today. I like to use this string winder. This is a Diodario one. And I can snip the string and stuff, but I actually like to undo it as much as I can to just minimize the mess, especially if you have small animals around and people who like to walk around barefoot. We don't wear shoes in this house once we're inside, so yeah. You want a surface that's not going to scratch the finish. So obviously as a softer surface, this is not great that it's wobbling. I might try that for now. Alright, cool. Yeah, so I'm making sure that I take my time to unwind the strings. You could do one by one. I like to do a deep clean. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use a very... okay, so it's a high number sandpaper. It is not high grit. It is very smooth sandpaper. So it's not taking out any material. All it is doing is... all it's doing is kind of smoothing things out. It's going to make the frets clean. It's also going to take pits out of the fret. You don't put any pressure on though, you let the paper do the most of the work. We are using P800. So this one got a little stuck. So it's a good thing because it does mean the string was locked in at least. I don't recommend doing it this quickly if you're not comfortable with it. Yeah, as long as you know which direction you're going, if you know that you're loosening the string, shouldn't usually be an issue. Sometimes it is if your strings are really worn in. These are also great opportunities to get all up in your guitars, like nooks and crannies where there's dust buildup. So. So I'm using, this is like an older Fender, I think it's probably cotton, but like, highly recommend using a microfiber cloth if you have one. Just good to pick the dust up off of the, not playing surfaces of this instrument, any instrument you have. Just getting in there. I'm making sure that the little nuts here are also tight. You don't want them to be like completely like deadlocked tight, but you don't want them to be too loose either. The reason we're going just with this, you can do steel wool to get into the cleaning. Like, it's just, this isn't going to take anything out, and I can actually just gently loosen up stuff that might be on there. Steel wool is usually a little better to use first. This just isn't terribly scummy right now. It's just, you know, it does still need some love though. This actually isn't a wooden fretboard either. This is a like a composite material. Like, some of it's just picking up, so I'm not even gonna bother using the sandpaper for that. Some is just picking up off of the cloth. Seriously, I hope this helps. Let me know if any of it's confusing or if you need close-ups of anything. I will try to get a close-up of the restringing. So you'll see, this is what I'm picking up off of the fretboard. Yeah, this is like some little maintenance stuff that I always do with my guitars anyway. How often do I do this sort of thing would be... It depends. I haven't played a lot of acoustic in recent years, so I haven't had to do this too recently, but I would say roughly every 2-3 months I like to just get in there. Just switching hands because it's a little labor intensive on the fingers. So what I'm doing is getting the cloth right up on the fret edge where you see like the little bits of like skin and sweat get, and you wanna, yeah, you just want to pick that up Like I don't have long nails, but I'm getting my finger on the cloth and then getting the pressure right there. I do wash these in the wash and stuff, so they don't stay like with all the scum built up on it over time. Which obviously, you know, you don't want to be wiping down stuff you want clean with something dirty. That is just basic cloth hygiene. Yeah. That already starts to look a little better though. Let's do some sandpaper now. I haven't done this kind of cleaning on this guitar in a long time, so this has needed it anyway. And then this is just to smooth out the frets a bit, get rid of any pits in them. Not a thing I recommend you do if you don't know what you're doing with it, so don't use just any sandpaper. I would highly recommend you just try restringing and cleaning without using anything too industrial. If you have experience, then you should know what you're doing, and whatever. At that point, you do you. I'm gonna get this stuff out of the way, just so there's less to deal with. Okay. Also, Waffles, are you still picking a song? There's something very therapeutic about just taking care of an instrument too. One of the joys of having so many, honestly. No, it's okay, Waffles. I'm just making sure you're all good. They don't really get up here a lot of times, so it's not quite as built up. That should be fine for now. We're then going to throw. So this is a oil, cleans, conditions, protects. It's technically a polycarbonate of wood or whatever, so doesn't need much of it. It's definitely more of an artificial material, but it's just going to make it look nicer. It's going to do some sort of sealing, just not the same kind that it would on a proper wood, rosewood or ebony fretboard. I'll even let it sink in for a little bit. And I'll show y'all what it's like. Girl, how the bad guys want. Joanny really picked a good one by requesting. So I want to show y'all what it's going to look like actually too. So it never looks ugly on cam because, we're not zoomed in. This is what it looks like post cleaning. With the screen light on it too. Hey Crush, you play because it's making the rounds a bit lately on YouTube. What's the song? You want to always make sure with this setup of strings, or tuners rather, you want your strings to go up through the right slot in the guitar nut here. So I like to make sure it's pointing all the way through from the inside. You never want to restring from the outside unless you have a particularly wonky guitar that requires it. Usually that's not the way it works. The tuners work best when they're kind of done this way. I have the hole for the tuner going this across, where this one's going forward, this one's going horizontal. So I'm gonna put it through the hole. And I want to make sure there's a little bit of leeway. So it's in from the inside through, out, behind, so towards the tip of the headstock. Then I'm gripping the tip of the string and then pulling it over the part of the string coming out from the guitar body. So I have two sources of tension here. I can make it one. This has taken me years to master, or not really years, it just took a couple weeks of really having to do it a lot. What I'm doing now is making sure that the string coming from the body is angled down so that it makes a coil. And you want to stack the coils. I'm going to see if I can zoom in a bit more, because that's going to be a beneficial angle to see for this. And you can hear the construction upstairs now, probably. Hey chat, about to shift at work. Start shift at work. Pop in real quick with you, an amazing stream. I hope you have a great day too, Sphinx. How have you been feeling? I hope your work shift goes well, dude. Hope you and Rye have been well too. Miss you around these parts, but glad you're working. Here we go. Just keep going. Easier, just you put the ball end at the back and then through, like, because there's a hole through the bridge for most classical guitars. Then you pull it up and then you just do the stringing on the top part over here at the tuners. Classicals are fun. I love my classical. I don't restring it often because I don't play it as often as I should. But it's the same thing. Just if you are good enough with your fingers, you can actually, like, so I'm doing soft pressure down with the string that's coming from the body, and then the bit that's coming out of the tuner, I'm just holding with two fingers to keep some pressure on there, but just tightening that now, just to be safe. You want to make sure that you do it this way so it's locked down. Working right now, I'll be listening, mostly working. No worries, dude. We're chilling. I'm not going to be streaming later tonight because I have, like, work and then I want to finish voicing some stuff. But I will be on until probably, like, roughly 7 or so p.m. If not, maybe... I'll double check my schedule, but it'll be around that time that I... Cool. Yeah, that is accurate tuning now. Next up, let's do the lower strings. So I kind of do it in that order to rebalance out the guitar. You don't really need to. Sometimes it's good to do, like, every other string or something. You just happen to come the same bundle, so I'm like, ugh, screw it. Let's just deal with it, you know? Oh yeah, I made a new word. Do tell. What is this new word? So make sure there's, like, a little divot in the pins for the acoustic guitar. Make sure the ball end is at the end of that, so the string goes through. Schuppelstack. A Schuppelstack. What does Schuppelstack mean? I like it so far. It reminds me of Shoe Puff from Twitch. Same rule applies here. You're going to be able to see this a little easier. And also, the winding's going to be done on this side. So, just a little bit easier mechanically as well. Soft surface like that, not so good. You really want a hard surface with a blanket, if that makes sense. So, like a really well padded blanket. So the soft surface is the blanket on a hard surface that keeps your neck stabilizer stable. I'm just kind of decent at improvising, so... This is a do as I say, not as I do sort of thing. Table with a blanket is better. My camera setup is just here in the room, so. Ugh. So you could actually really see what I'm doing here. So it goes over after it goes in. So it went in, under, over. Takes a little longer to explain the thing as you do it as well. So usually for me, like restringing a guitar just takes like 15 minutes. It's okay though. So now we're just winding. I like the winder for this too. So as long as you're guiding the string, squeaky, squeak, 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 squeak. Sorry, it kept squeaking. I kept saying squeaky. It was making the bed noise. That was not the bed though. That was just the general friction happening here. God, there's no non-sussy way to say these things. Fuck me. That made it worse. Okay. So we're almost done. Only 2 more strings after this. This is the A string, or the A flat string, however you have your guitar strung and tuned. You also notice it just looks very pretty to have fresh strings on. The contrast between the dark wood and the brightness of the string. Things are happening. We promise they are not lewd. Exactly. They simply sound lewd. They are not lewd though. But you know what is lewd? The Luda Chris, and we love the Luda. We loves the Luda. So you see, it's just one motion like that. Then see, so at the first turn, I've kind of learned to just do something like this. It's a bit of like a lobster claw, but I'm pinching here and holding it down here with my middle finger. That's too cute. I really want my I might go to the Korean market that we have around here because they have this citrus syrup tea thing. It's so good. Oh my god, it's so good. Like I literally got a craving for it just now in my brain. I'm gonna have to edit this down. I'm gonna resend the original one because it could just be a different version that's not capoed. Or if you want me to send as a correction, I'll send that as a correction. I did both because a relative minor has a different root note. Root notes can change a lot of how like a guitar chord sounds, especially, and just in general, root notes change the flavoring on a chord. This is all to say, I'm a nerd. This is all to say, I'm a giant nerd with perfect pitch, who probably annoys the shit out of some people. But I corrected the chords. There's also like a second nerd. So the another issue I took was that there's a long chorus where it's like might just disappear. Oh mo mo. So basically, but so am I, exactly. Nerd. So there's a at the very end of the song, there's a whole bunch of repeated choruses, but one of them uses a different harmonic set. So like instead of the usual B minor, D, F sharp minor, D, it does B minor, E major, F sharp minor, something. But so it's just there's like a one repetition of the chorus that is different harmonically, and it wasn't expressed in the original chord set I found. So I was like, I can just make a better one of this. Hopefully they accept the edit and or just the original second version of it. But It was interesting because I've never, like, as someone who's used that site forever, I've actually never submitted chords or tabs. So it was interesting to see that process. The copy paste function's pretty good. So like I made it originally in Notepad, and then I copied it over just so I'd have like the local duplicate or whatever. And yeah, it ended up being cool. It ended up being really cool. So the reason that we string things this way is that it's supposed to lock down the string, makes the tuning just a little more consistent. It's okay, Waffles. I'm just talking about, like, basically the